So looking at your background, growing up in Chicago and then being a public defender, how has that shaped the way you approach success and leadership?
Oh, sure, absolutely. I mean, growing up in Chicago's key. Chicago's a tough city. It's always been a tough town.
Yes.
And my grandfather was a tough man, and my grandfather was, he kind of is a little bit legendary in the city in his own right. Worked his way up as an immigrant, fought in World War II and D-Day, the Battle of the Bulge, and all that, and eventually become the president of Marion Baking Company, which was the largest bakery in the city. So he knew a lot of people. He had helped a lot of people in time. And so I drew a lot of that strength and that kind of that Chicago attitude, right? That Chicago hardness, of, fight, 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 and work really hard, right? Because you're not going to succeed in a city like that unless you have grit. It's the bottom line. And so, yeah, I credit Chicago a great deal, and my grandfather for who I am, forming me, in that way. And then there's just a lot that goes into my background that comes up into it. Public defender taught me a lot of stuff, just about people and their struggle, right? And it's not always black and white.
When you started in law,
Yeah.
obviously public defender is not on, I don't think, many people's aspirations list, but where did you really want to go in law?
Politics was the whole thing first. I was working for a congressman in Milwaukee. I was a poli-sci major. And I got to become good friends with this congressman and know him well. And, we're sitting there and I decide, he's like, one day I'm at his desk. He's like, Phil, what are you doing? What are you going to do with yourself? I'm going into my senior year, in school. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm going to go for my master's degree in public policy. I was, no, you're not. He's like, you want to go into politics, right? At that time I did. I don't anymore. But I'm like, yeah, I do. That's what I want to do. He's like, you're going to go to law school. That's what you're going to do. I'm going to write your recommendation letters. And that's what he did. And that was the first time. So here I am going to my senior year of college. I had never even thought about law school my whole life. Never, didn't even know what it took to become a lawyer. And it was because of the congressman that I said, I looked into it. Figured out I had to take this test to go to law school called the LSAT. I'm like, what's that about? I don't even know. Just signed up for it, went and took it and whatnot. And you applied to law schools, got in, and rest is history. So going to law school was the furthest thing from practicing law, right? It was kind of like a means to an end to this political cycle. But all that changed when I got there, I can tell you that. So.
Yeah. And you said, no more politics. I'm not interested in that.
Yeah, I wound up in law school. I wound up running a lot of campaigns. I've ran many campaigns. I was very active in politics, and I've been a party chairman for a county before, elected to that and stuff. But, politics, I guess I'll put it this way. Politics is a strange animal, right? To say the least. And I'm not a big. First of all, I wouldn't want to do it because, for the most part, outside of our current president, it's a career politician pathway. To success, and that's not my view of politics. I don't think anybody should go into politics and want to be there more than 8 years. They should get back to then doing life. So one, I don't want to do that, and two, I've kind of learned that I can do more good outside of politics than in it. Mm-hmm. So,
what do you think? Why do you think politics has turned into the career thing?
I think that. It's turned into it because I think that once people get there, they don't want to let it go, right? It's the power, right? And so there's no check on that power. We talk about checks and balances in our government, which we do have, and you see it working. You really do every day still, despite any people that have doubt about, well, does it or does it not? I mean, the courts check the legislature checks the executive. I mean, you do see it in play. It really does work. But amongst those that serve. The founders never really contemplated a check and balance, right? Honestly, I think it's because none of them really contemplated themselves who the heck would want to do this for a career, right? And they didn't want to do it for a career. And so that's where term limits come in, right? So because there's no check and balance on that, once you're in it, why would you want to give it up, man? You have all this power, you're being wined and dined constantly, you get these perks, you're important, right? There's ego involved, all of that stuff. Who would want to give that up once you have it, right? Because the only other way you're going to get to that kind of life is if you make it on your own and create a really successful business or enterprise, right? Which is way harder. It's harder to do that than to run for office and win. I can tell you that any day of the week.
Hey there, it's the real Jason Duncan. Thank you for watching this video. If you are an entrepreneur and you've ever thought about what it's going to be like when you get ready to exit your business, I'm the guy you want to follow. So make sure that you've subscribed to this channel and go check out the link in the description, therealjasonduncan.com. Check out the resources I've got for people just like you, as an entrepreneur who's trying to get his life back, get her life back, get your time and freedom back. We've got a couple other videos you might be interested in. There's one here and there's one here. If that's what you want as an entrepreneur, if you're being trapped in your business, then I can help you get out of that. So go to therealjasonduncan.com. The link is in the description and check out one of these videos. I'll see you next time.